You know, it's great. Anytime you get to come to a country like this and see a facility like we have here at the track, you know, for me it's life is good. To watch racing, to get to do some laps on the two Gixxers was a lot of fun for me. I didn't get to see the whole circuit. I think I'm going to go around in a car a little bit after we finish here and just see what it's all about, because you know, if Herman Tilke is the one that designed it, we know everything about this place is first class, and you know, you guys have had F1. You just need the two-wheel sport to come here now. You know, it was different. It was a brand of tires that I had never ridden on, so it was. I took it very, very cautious in the 2 laps I rode on it yesterday. But you know, it felt good. The basics. It didn't feel unstable. It felt solid on the brakes. Everything about it. Everything was in place. Everything was good. You know, I think watching the racing today, what the kids have to do to go fast on that, it's the same thing you got to do to go fast on a Gixxer 1000 or a MotoGP bike. You know, the little bitty short piece that I got to ride, I think I missed the more technical side of the track.
I think what the most boring corners,
yeah,
to be very honest.
You know, I like the elevation. You know, that always getting onto the back straightaway, getting that brake marker right so that you don't miss that blind apex there. It's great. It's entertaining. I definitely enjoyed the few laps I got to ride around it. When I put the front wheel down, it was 240.
Wow.
And on the ride today, I was 299 on the back straightaway. I'd love to have had the opportunity to have ridden with all those kids, to have gone out and played around in some of the practice with them, or, you know, who knows, maybe even race with them. It's so much easier to assess the level of talent by riding with the group than it is just standing around watching, especially a bike that I'd never seen before, never ridden before. But you know, watching the competition, watching the excitement, it's that same smile on your face, it's that same standing on the foot pegs happy after you win, and it's that same chin on your chest because you lost. You know, we all want to win every time we go out there, but unfortunately there can only be one. What makes a great racer? A huge heart. He's got to have heart, because you know, you could be winning a race and fall down leading on the last lap, and you know, if you're soft between the ears and you're not really headstrong and you don't have a huge heart that just wants to get back out there and kick everybody's ass the next time you go race. The peaks and valleys that happen in racing come so condensed and so jammed together throughout a season, or even throughout just a race day or a race weekend, that it definitely brings the weakness out in, you know, some of the people that you would have thought were the strongest there were out there. You know, I got that question a couple times this weekend, and definitely the tryout at the end of '84 at Willow Springs, when I went out and won those 2 races and got signed up to ride the Yoshimura Suzuki. Midway through that year, signing my contract with Suzuki to actually get a paycheck for '86 and '87, I thought, oh my God, are you kidding? I'm going to get paid? You know, and as a kid watching my uncle dirt track race, I always thought to myself, man, if I could ever find a way to make a living racing motorcycles, that'd be the coolest job ever. To make a living racing motorcycles and get to race at the front of Grand Prix and race with the best out there, there's nothing better. You know, watching him get hurt, because I crashed, you know, every season I crashed 6 or 8 times to every time he fell down. I was on the ground all the time compared to him, but at the same time, you know, I started as an amateur in 1984, and I retired in 1995. So my career spanned just over 10 years. My learning curve had to be almost vertical, and you know, the only way I could do what I needed to do and learn what I needed to learn was go out and make a mistake doing it and go back and learn from that mistake. So, you know, do I have any regrets about, you know, my reputation as a racer? No, I think that's why the fans appreciate and like me as much as they do and have for so long, is that I never left anything out there. You know, I might have left some body parts laying in the gravel from the RGV, but that was about it. You know, it's just as big a commitment to do it at 50, and probably even a bit bigger of a commitment. You know, the training side of it, the preparing yourself, the trying to get a bike and go do riding so that you're used to riding a GSX-R 1000 that goes 295 kilometers an hour into the top of the back straightaway at Suzuka. The physical aspect of it, you know, the running, the riding, the cycling, the motocross, all the different things you do. And once again, you got to have a pretty strong head, and you got to have a huge heart, because in the first year I went, first thing I did was go out and crash the Kageyama bike, and I thought, oh my God, what was I thinking? What am I doing here? But the next year on the Yosh bike, you know, from my first practice session, I was as fast as just about anybody out there. I wasn't Japanese whatever his name is on the Yamaha fast, and I wasn't Suda fast, but I was doing 209s. And you know what? That's as fast as I went when I raced Grand Prix there, and the tracks changed and slowed down some. So yeah, I figure if I can do 209s at 50 years old, kind of one-handed, that's okay. You know, I think the endurance race in Japan has gotten to where it's basically a 8-hour sprint race. You know, you better be ready to do 26 laps, less than 2 minutes and 10 seconds getting around there, except when you run into traffic. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to be at the front of the field. And I think, you know, it used to not be quite so much that way. In the mid-'80s when I first went and did it, it was a little bit more relaxed. But then we all, as MotoGP riders, we all got to, you know, got to start going there and doing it myself, doing Gardner, Lawson, Rainey, McGee, all those guys. Rob Mack, Kenny Roberts rode it a couple of years when I was racing. But it's, you know, it's just, and physically, I think it's harder than any Grand Prix, because you ride for an hour, you push yourself as hard as you can, and when you get off, you only got 50 minutes to get ready. You know, my honest opinion is I think MotoGP's racing has gotten kind of boring. You know, Moto2 and Moto3 are still not so electronically governed or controlled. MotoGP is, normally you watch the first 5 laps, you can turn it off and you know what happened. This year's been a little bit different, but only because we've had weather play a part in the outcome of so many races, yeah. You know, what I think is we should put sprinklers around the edge of the racetrack and say, hey, at some time during this race, the sprinklers are going to come on, and they may only stay on for 3 laps. They may stay on for 15 minutes. They may stay on until the end of the race. We don't know. We'll figure it out, because you know that's made the racing really entertaining. Watching Rossi do what he's done this season, and watching him wait and react to what Lorenzo did and not try and outsmart him. You know, he's championship racing. He knows what's going on right now. He's got to not do anything stupid to give up a big chunk of points to Jorge Lorenzo. And, you know, watching the talent come through Moto2, met Miguel Oliveira the other day. You know, Danny Kent, watching him dominate that Moto3 championship from being a Red Bull Rookies Cup kid. You know, there's a lot of satisfaction in watching MotoGP racing. But, yeah, it's still World Championship racing. It's still the best guys on the best bikes anywhere in the world. So, you know, that in itself is enough of a draw to keep people going and watching. You know, I wish I knew. You know, I watch him in the off season, and he rides his dirt tracker a bit, but you know, he's not one that's up early and out training and doing things like that. But he knows what to do to prepare himself for the start of a season. And he knows what to do throughout that season to continue to maintain that. And he also knows what not to do. I mean, when Nicky Hayden fell off a stupid friggin' pocket bike and broke his thumb, I mean, come on. Well, that's not training. You're not trying to get in shape. You're dicking around.